Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today we're going to be going over what I read in September. So if you haven't been following my channel, I did not read as much in September as I normally do. I didn't get as many videos out in September as I normally try to, and that is due to hunting season. I was out hunting for a bear and I saw a handful of them, but I just didn't get it done. So I had the opportunity to shoot and I missed, and that was that. So that being said, either way, I didn't get as much reading done as I tried to do, or as many videos out. So I thought I would do a wrap up to let you guys know kind of what I actually did accomplish reading and kind of talk things through a little bit. So first and foremost, I'm going to go through the most recent two that I finished because I'm not actually going to talk about them. I have a video that is scheduled to come out on Friday, and that's where I'll be talking about these videos. So keep an eye out for that if you want to see my thoughts on these two books. But that is The Employees by Olga Raven and The Rainfall Market by Yu Young Gwang. This is a Korean book translated by Slin Jung. And this one, I don't know if this is translated or not. Olga Raven is a Danish novelist and poet. So they are different from what I normally pick up, but it's been interesting. So if you want to see my full thoughts on these books, keep an eye out for my video coming out on Friday. Next up, I am going to go over the one little novella that I read during hunting season. I read it on my phone, and that is Love and Other Killers by Brynn Weaver. This is her little 60-page novella that she did after the Ruinous Love trilogy and kind of as a segue into tourist season. The Season of Carnage trilogy that she just came out with the end of September. This one, I gave it 5 stars. I wish it was longer. Honestly, I don't know if it would, like, in retrospect, I don't know if it would fully be 5 stars because I do wish that it would have been longer. But I love these characters. I love their banter. And I just have such a great time with Brynn Weaver's writing. There's just something about the way that she writes her books that it's so fun for me. And I just have such a great time. And she's definitely one of my favorite authors. And I love her books. So I'm really glad that I was able to get that one. I don't normally buy Kindle books, but for Brynn Weaver, I made an exception. So I really enjoyed that one, and I had a really good time with it. Now I have my physical books. So this is the stack of books that I went through in September. Now, a lot of these you have seen me talk about a little bit already for wrap-up, or not for wrap-ups, for like my TBRs and stuff, but there are a few on here that kind of snuck their way in. So the first one that I read in the month of September, we started out the month really, really strong. I read Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. This one is following a girl who is supposed to be just the forgettable older sister in the family, and instead when this guy who is, I don't remember if he's a prince or a king, I think he is a prince. When this prince comes in, he decides that he would rather marry her than her younger sister, and so they're fulfilling an alliance between their two cities. And then it goes into her getting married to this guy, and she experiences a whole new world. So there's magical creatures, there's like these bear type creatures, there's tiger type creatures, there's all kinds of different ones, and that's really, really fun. I loved this book. I gave this book 5 stars. It is a slow burn fantasy romance. The romance portion of it doesn't really come in until just about 400 pages. This is a 500-page book. So you definitely have that slow burn. I loved this. I loved her world building. It wasn't excessively complicated, but she did it well, and she had enough details in it and descriptions and stuff like that it was really, really fun. It was really easy to follow, and I just absolutely loved this. I gave it 5 stars. I'm really looking forward to the sequel that I believe is supposed to be coming out in April of next year. I'm definitely going to be buying it because I loved this so much. This might be a contender for my top 10 books of the year because I flew through this book in like 2 days and I loved it. So 5 stars for this one. Then I picked up Love and Other Killers. The next book that I picked up physically was Heavenbreaker. Now, I made it halfway through this book, and I've talked about this in my October TBR a little bit. I made it halfway through this book. I was 230, yeah, so I was 229 pages into this book, 230 pages into this book, and I could not follow it. I had no... I didn't care about the characters. I had no clue what the point was. And I felt like this was just kind of messy. Like, I felt like this author loved Pacific Rim and Knight's Tale and The Hunger Games and wanted to kind of combine all of those things into one, where you have robots and it's robots that are jousting and things like that. And it was definitely an interesting concept, and I was really, really excited to pick this book up. However, I was very disappointed in it. And I debated, because this book is beautiful. The pages are stunning, and the end papers right there are just absolutely gorgeous. This book is gorgeous. And I debated on, after deciding to DNF it, I debated on holding on to it and seeing if I wanted to come back to it, continue it, restart it, something just to give it another shot. But honestly, halfway through this book, I didn't care. And usually when I get to the point of deciding to DNF a book, I don't have any interest in coming back to it. And so I decided that I'm just gonna call her quits. And unfortunately, this one will be leaving my shelves, but I'm really glad that I gave it a shot. It just wasn't for me. I wasn't following it. Like I said, I didn't care. I felt like it was messy. There was too many things going on and not enough of a exploration of any of those things for me personally. So this one was a DNF, which is really unfortunate. The next one that I picked up was The Coven by Harper L. Woods. This one is a dark academia, kind of a vampire and witch kind of a story. And it's basically that she goes into the school. She's supposed to be like one of the... she's supposed to be like a legacy at this school, that her mom went there and stuff like that, but her mom left. And her mom has since passed away. And so she's supposed to be like a legacy going into this school, but she's like 20 some years old. And the headmaster is the guy that gets her into the school and is supposed to be kind of the love interest. This book was not for me. To say the least, this book was not for me. I ended up giving this one 2 stars. It's short, it was a fairly quick read. However, I felt like it was messy and I didn't like coming off of a slow burn like this, having this one where he is talking about how aroused he is by her within the first like 30 pages just didn't do it for me. So going from this into this, it just didn't work. But I did finish this one. I ended up giving it 2 stars. I won't be continuing in the series. And unfortunately, it wasn't for me. I felt like it was, again, too many things that were trying to be done and not enough was explored, which is really unfortunate because I had really high hopes for this book. I really hoped that I would love it, but it just wasn't for me. The next book I picked up was Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I made it... How far did I get into this one? I made it 115 pages into this one. I was bored and I hated our main character. I hated all of the characters. I thought the atmosphere was interesting, but I just didn't care. And nothing had really happened at all. And I know that with the Gothic type of supernatural stories that it's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be slow. But I just wasn't invested in this one. I wasn't invested in the writing. I felt like the writing was just almost like too simplified. That it just felt really, I don't know. There was just something about it. I just didn't like the writing style. I didn't like the writing style. And like I said, I didn't like any of the characters. I didn't care about the plot. I didn't want the character. I wanted the main character. I wanted the like ghost things to get her. And that was it. Because I just couldn't stand her. She annoyed the crap out of me. She was a spoiled, rotten, naive girl who felt like she thought she was doing the best thing that she could, even though she never actually wanted to be there in the first place. She thought that she knew best for her cousin, who she hasn't talked to in 2 years, and she didn't even want to be there in the first place, but then she goes in and she's like, oh, I have to take care of you and all this. And I just didn't like it. I didn't like her. So I ended up DNFing this one. Don't think this one was for me. And so, yeah, I mean, I know that's kind of a hot take because I know a lot of people loved this book, but I just didn't care for it. And again, once I get that far into it and I decide that I don't want to read it anymore and I want to DNF it, I don't think I'm going to be going back to it. I don't think I have any interest in going back to this one. I've had this one on my shelves for quite a few years now, and really since it was super popular, right after it was super popular. And I finally got to it and I just wasn't into it. So I will be also unhauling this one because it was, like I said, a DNF. All right, the next book that I ended up picking up was Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I've actually since sent this one down to my sister for her to be able to read it. I ended up giving this one like a 3-star. I thought this one was good. I thought the perspective of, I can't remember her name. I thought the perspective of the wife who was in the water, in the submarine, trapped, was super, super interesting. I would have liked more exploration of that. And I understand kind of why she did it, because there's not a lot of plot happening when they are stranded underwater. But I wanted more of her perspective. Our other character, her wife, who was home during the whole time, and now she is talking about the after effects of what being in the water like that, how it affected her wife and their life together and their personalities. I could have done with less of that. I didn't care for her perspective as much, and she kind of annoyed me. Kind of a woe is me, like poor me kind of thing when her wife was trapped under the water for 6 months. You know. But either way, I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was good. I thought it was interesting. However, I just felt like I wanted more from the other perspective versus what we got. I wanted a little bit more of an exploration into the happenings of that. And honestly, I think that she really could have done something similar to like Ghost Station, or like really made it more of a horror aspect. I felt like this book is supposed to be kind of a literary horror. I felt like it was more of a literary fiction. There wasn't really any horror to it. She definitely could have played up that horror bit for me personally, because I feel like the whole concept of going into a submarine for biology, like research purposes, is super interesting. And the fact that she got trapped underwater in this submarine where like most of their stuff was working except for the ability to move, I thought that was really, really interesting. And she really, really could have played that up with the haunted bits and I really felt like she could have played that up a bit and really, really made that better. My personal opinion, again, I know a lot of people have really enjoyed that book. I felt like there were things that could have been a little bit differently that would have made me personally enjoy it more than I did. I still thought it was good. I still thought it was interesting. I'm still really, really glad that I read it. It's just not a 5-star favorite book for me. Next up, I read The Invisible Hour by Alice Hoffman. This is about a girl who lives in a cultish community that is very overbearing, and she finds solace in Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Secret Letter. Scarlet Letter, there we go. The Scarlet Letter. And she kind of thinks of him as saving her life by that book. And then it turns into kind of a time travel bit, and this book was a mess. I gave this book 2 stars. I thought there were bits of it that were really, really interesting. I loved the writing. I absolutely loved the writing. Did not like the storyline. Hated the time travel. I felt like the time travel was not thought out. It was just kind of like throw it in and everything just works out perfectly, and you have to suspend any kind of disbelief, because all of a sudden she's in this time and then she's back with Nathaniel Hawthorne, and it's like, how the hell did you get there? It's never really explained very well, at least in my opinion. And like I said, I loved the writing. I thought the story was really, really interesting, but I was hoping this one was going to be something more along the lines of this one, because I absolutely loved this. This was in my top books of the year last year. This is The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. This was in my top books of the year last year. Absolutely love this. Gave it 5 stars. I was hoping that The Invisible Hour by Alice Hoffman was going to end up being kind of in that same ballpark. The writing was good, like I said. The storyline I did not care for. So I gave this one 2 stars, and I was really bummed out by it because this comparison I thought would be pretty decent. But this one just didn't do it for me. Like I said, I'd definitely be interested in trying something else of hers. I know she wrote Practical Magic. I know that's like the most popular book that Alice Hoffman has come out with is Practical Magic. But I started with this one. Honestly, like, I loved her writing. Wasn't impressed with the book. So I will try something else by her at some point, but I'm not going to be in as big of a hurry to pick it up because I just didn't care for this. But I did finish it. So there's that. And next up, the last one that I will be talking about that I read is Tourist Season by Bryn Weaver. Big surprise there. One of my favorite authors. I bought this book on the day it was released. I started it on the day it was released and then I finished it the next day. So I binge read this one. I was going to do a video where I actually read this one and talk to you guys about it, but that didn't happen. I wanted to start it, binge it, and just enjoy it without having to worry about having an opportunity to come on here and talk to you guys as I was reading it. I wanted to be able to just go through it. So this one is following Harper and Nolan. Now Nolan is hunting down the people that were involved in a hit and run that killed his little brother. He is hunting them all down to get his revenge. They messed him up pretty badly. He was in the hospital for a long time. He had to relearn how to walk, how to eat, how to function. And his little brother died because of this hit and run. So he is trying to hunt down all the people that were involved in this accident. Hence Harper. Harper is a serial killer who is taking care of her town of Carnage. Carnage is a tourist town, and the tourists come in and cause all kinds of problems. And she kills them. And Harper she has a history that we kind of learn as we go. If you've read the Ruinous Love trilogy, then there will be some cameos from little mentions of characters, little Easter eggs from the Ruinous Love trilogy in this book, which I thought that was super fun. And this book was it was her and Nolan. They meet. They hate each other. Nolan is hunting Harper. He has every intention of killing her, and it goes from there. And this book was so much fun. We have Harper and Nolan, who are both serial killers, and then we also have Arthur, who is an elderly man who is getting dementia. So sometimes he's kind of forgetful, but he just so happens to also be a serial killer, or he was a serial killer in the past. And so, once a serial killer, always a serial killer. But we also have Arthur, and Arthur was involved in this, and Harper is Arthur's gardener and kind of like a stand-in caretaker while his nephew is trying to get their brewery up and running again, or brewery, distillery, one of the two, up and running again. And so she's trying to look after him, and she has a wood chipper named the Cookie Monster. She has a raven that has learned to speak like a parrot, or a crow, I mean. And it was a great time. It was a great time. It was 5 stars, hands down. Absolutely love this book. I thought the stakes in this was perfect. The book had me hooked as soon as I read the trigger warnings, just like the Ruinous Love trilogy did. And it was just great. If you like the Ruinous Love trilogy, you absolutely need to try these because they are in the exact same vein. They're so much fun. Love the characters, love the banter, love all of it. It was great. And there's nothing else that I need to say about it. Also, this book is beautiful. Like, she's got the edges. And we've got the map of Cape Carnage on the end papers. It is absolutely stunning. I love this book. It is beautiful. And I cannot wait until the rest of the books come out. So, that being said, we had some 5 stars, some 3 stars, some 2 stars. It was a really crazy month for reading. But I'm really excited for what is coming up next in October. Have you read any of these books? Did you enjoy them? Did you not enjoy them? Are you looking forward to reading Tourist Season as well? I loved it. I loved it. I had a great time. So these are some of the books that I got through in the month of September, in amongst hunting and everything else that was going on. I still got some reading done. And so yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit. And like I said, if you want to hear more about the rainfall market and the employees, I should have that video posted for you and ready to go on Friday morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And so yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit, and I will see you at the end of the week. Bye.